Yo, what's going on, guys? It is time for another reaction video, and today we're going to be reacting to the history of Romania explained in 10 minutes, and this is coming from the YouTube channel Epimetheus. So if you like this video, be sure to go check out Epimetheus on YouTube and check out some of their content. With that being said, let's get straight into it.
Romania, a nation of 20 million people, is located on the western shore of the Black Sea coast, north of the Danube River, and is dominated by the vast Carpathian mountain range. Romanians speak a Latin-based language, related to modern-day Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and French. This area was inhabited by many
That's a mashup of a whole lot of languages, huh?
Carpathian mountain range. Romanians speak a Latin-based language, related to modern-day Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and French.
So 5 different languages, wow.
This area was inhabited by many prehistoric cultures, which evolved and thrived there for millennia. The controversial Tataria tablets, discovered on the Transylvanian plateau, are believed by some scholars to be the earliest form of writing yet uncovered, others believing the talismans to merely be meaningful symbols, later derivations of Mesopotamian script.
Does remind me a little bit of the movie The Fifth Element. It makes me wonder if the movie The Fifth Element took inspiration from this when they were scripting that movie and putting this idea together.
Leaving the talismans to merely be meaningful symbols, later derivations of Mesopotamian scripts, or inauthentic. During the Bronze to early Iron Age, it is widely hypothesized that these indigenous cultures merged with Indo-European speaking newcomers, who developed into the closely related Getae, Dacians, and Thracians, who were renowned throughout the Greek world for their fighting prowess, and were highly prized as mercenaries. Although the Getae and the Dacians shared the same language and had similar religious customs compared to those of the Thracians to the south, they were not united, being split up into dozens of rival tribes. This changed after incursions from the Scythians and Celtic tribes, who seem to have likely dominated the Carpathian region for a short while, before being driven out. Larger and larger coalitions of tribes formed, until Burebista united them all into a single powerful kingdom, which conquered the Greek colonies along the Black Sea coast. During the Roman Civil War, Burebista allied with Pompey Magnus against the victorious Julius Caesar, who planned a campaign against this large threatening state on its northern border. This war would never come to pass, as Caesar and then Burebista both fell prey to the assassin's dagger in the same year. As with the Roman senators, the Dacian aristocracy feared their traditional privileges were threatened by a powerful autocrat consolidating too much power. For several generations, Dacia would fragment into 4 and then 5 different kingdoms, based on shifting tribal alliances. Dacia would once again become a threat to Rome when united under Decebalus. During the particularly inept reign of the Emperor Domitian, the Dacians successfully invaded the Roman province of Moesia. During the ensuing war, the Romans beat back the Dacians across the Danube, only to suffer a disastrous defeat while pursuing them, and agreed to a humiliating treaty where Rome paid Dacia 8 million sesterces every year. In return, Dacia accepted the status of being a Roman client kingdom. After a few years of respite, the Roman Emperor Trajan would wage 2 wars against Decebalus. During these wars, the Dacians often used shock troops, armed with 2-handed swords that were so effective at piercing Roman helmets that they were modified with a pair of crossbars over the dome of the helmet to mitigate the damage from this weapon. However, the full might of the Roman Empire, combined with a competent emperor focused on Dacia, was too much. Decebalus took his own life while being pursued, rather than being captured and paraded through the streets of Rome, ending the decades-long Dacian threat. Tens of thousands of Dacians were enslaved and taken to other parts of the empire, while the new Roman province was heavily colonized, especially with Roman military veterans, as had been done with Spain generations before. Although the Dacian heartland had been taken, there were free Dacians on the outskirts of the province, allied with Sarmatian and other northern tribes, that raided and attempted to retake the province for decades. This vulnerable province was the focus of intense Latinization. Of the many inscriptions of names found dating to Roman Dacia, a very high proportion are Latin. After 168 years, the Romans withdrew their legions south of the Danube River. The Germanic Visigoth tribe moved south to dominate the area afterwards. The Roman Emperor Constantine built a bridge across the Danube and re-established the Roman province of Dacia for a short time, earning himself the title Dacius Maximus. After the Romans withdrew yet again, the Goths, and then a new tribe of uncertain origin, the
Is that where the term Goth originates from? Or Gothic originates from, is Visigoths?
Yet again, the Goths, and then a new tribe of uncertain origin, the Gepids, established themselves as rulers of the region north of the lower Danube River. The Gepids allied with Attila the Hun during his conquests, and after the disintegration of that short-lived empire, they established themselves as the premier power in the region, receiving tribute of 100 pounds of gold each year from the Romans. The Gepid kingdom came to an end after invasions from Romans, Lombards, and Avars, a force of 20,000 horsemen, likely related to Turkic peoples of the steppe. Initially allied with the Eastern Romans, they then terrorized the empire, taking over 200,000 captives. They were allied with migrating tribes of Slavs and Bulgars, who intermingled with and gradually replaced the Avars in a more established state. For hundreds of years, the First Bulgarian Empire came to dominate the entire region. The Bulgars were a longtime enemy and occasional ally of the Byzantine Eastern Romans. Beginning in the late 9th century, the semi-nomadic Magyars conquered the Carpathian Basin and Transylvanian Plateau. The Bulgarian Empire collapsed soon afterwards due to attacks from both the Kievan Rus and then the Byzantine Roman Empire. During this time, the Latin-speaking Vlachs, as the Greek-speaking Eastern Romans referred to them as, gained greater autonomy within and on the fringes of the Kingdom of Hungary. In the mid-13th century, the Mongol Empire devastated the kingdoms and principalities of Eastern Europe. After the Mongols withdrew, 3 Latin-speaking states formed: Transylvania, Moldavia, and Wallachia. Transylvania was a semi-independent vassal of the Kingdom of Hungary, as was Moldavia, although it maintained a much higher degree of autonomy, given its more remote location. In 1330, Wallachia defeated a much larger Hungarian army, establishing itself as a fully independent state. This independence would last for less than 100 years. Wallachia allied with Hungary against an even greater foe, the Ottoman Turks, and after repeated campaigns, they became an Ottoman vassal in 1417.
It's amazing how much this region and over here too, like how many times this exchanged hands and was fought for from different cultures and different ethnicities and races, however you want to label it. It's baffling, like how many times it changed hands, and we're about 60% through this video, but still, yeah, it's crazy. History is crazy sometimes.
Paying a large yearly tribute in exchange for retaining independent rule. During the turbulent time that followed in Wallachia,
Well, I should preface actually what I meant by that is like how it can seem like it's been settled and going to be with a particular descent. Even when you think it's done with all the exchange of territorial grabs, it still can be taken by someone else. So for a good long period, it was like the same people were there. But then over time it got taken, and then it got taken again, and then it got taken again, and then it got taken again. It's amazing how many years and how many centuries that these wars can go on, or this confiscation of property can go on.
They fought against themselves as often as they rebelled against the Turks, which was often, usually triggered by failure to pay the yearly tribute, most notably under Vlad Tepes, also known as Vlad the Impaler or Vlad Dracula. He became renowned throughout Europe, not only for the devastating defeats he dealt the Ottoman Empire, but also for his legendary cruelty, which hundreds of years later would inspire the fictional character Dracula. During the long reign of Vlad's contemporary, Stefan the Great of Moldavia, that state reached the height of its power, influence, and independence. One of the greatest military commanders of his day, he won 48 of 50 battles, and defeated larger armies of Polish, Ottoman, and Hungarians. However, after his death, Moldavia, as well as Wallachia, Transylvania, and Hungary, fell under increased Ottoman influence and control. However, the relationship between the Ottoman Empire and these client states was extremely complex and frequently changed. Often near complete autonomy was granted in exchange for tribute payments of gold and men to fill the ranks of the Ottoman army. During the reign of Michael the Brave, a large unified, fully independent native state was established on both sides of the Carpathian Mountains for the first time since Decebalus had ruled Dacia. This state was short-lived, as Michael the Brave was assassinated, and the Ottomans gained control again a few years later. Hungary regained its lost territory, and Transylvania once again became a Hungarian vassal state. The Russian and Ottoman empires fought many wars, often involving this region. The early 19th century.
Look at all those dates. There must be a typo there. Wow. It's like every 3 to 5 years to 7 years, 10 years, there's like, it's just another war.
We saw a brief period of Russian control of Wallachia and Moldavia, and a series of uprisings and rebellions against the Russian, Austro-Hungarian, and Ottoman rule, as nationalist sentiment continually grew, with the goal of uniting all Romanian-speaking people. Wallachia and Moldavia unified, and obtained their liberty from the Ottoman Empire after the Romanian War of Independence with Russian support, establishing the Kingdom of Romania in 1881. With the outbreak of World War I, Romania declared neutrality, as it was squeezed between three great powers. Romania joined the war 2 years later in 1916. By the war's end, Romania had suffered over 500,000 casualties. They had been motivated by the desire to join with the 3 million Romanians of Transylvania. In the treaties following the war, and the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, this goal was accomplished, creating Greater Romania during the interwar period. During World War II, Romania again had little desire to join the war, including relinquishing large portions of territory. Until under threat of invasion by the USSR, Romania joined the Allied cause. After the war, the Socialist Republic of Romania was established, with the Communist Party forcing the king to abdicate the throne and abolish the monarchy. For 24 years, Nicolae Ceausescu governed the state, maintaining close ties with the Soviet Union, until the Romanian Revolution of 1989, which led to his capture and execution. In 1991, a new constitution was drafted, with a free market economy, establishing the modern state of Romania. In 2004, Romania joined the European Union. In recent times, there has been a movement for reunification with Moldova, which, unlike Romania, had been part of the USSR. And a big shout out to Cosmin, who has been patiently requesting this video for many months.
Wow. So again, the YouTube channel Epimetheus, go give him a follow or go check out his content. This was a very well put together video. I think I said most everything I need to say. It's just amazing how many times one piece of land, one area can exchange hands and be taken over in history, you know? So it's like, how rich is that history? Like, and who tells the history one way versus another? So depending on what your background is, you may have been fed one version of the history, and if you're somewhere else on the continent, you might have been fed a different version of the history, because everybody's going to favor their background over the opposing background, right? So like, I think you get what I'm saying, but hopefully it's settled for permanent now. I mean, we've got a lot going on right now with Russia and Ukraine, and with Romania being so close. Hopefully there's no issues there in the future, but we never know what's going to happen these days. So yeah, this was a really eye-opener. A lot of the content I've seen so far from Romania has been a little bit more about the present day with you know, bits and pieces about some of the history, but this one really showed from a war standpoint, from what it was to what it is today, and settling the land and establishing government and all of that moving forward. So yeah, very informative video. If you're new here and you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe, click the bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. If you like this video, do give it a thumbs up. It does help. And stick around to the end of this video. There'll be a playlist of some of my other videos. So if you want to go check out some of my other content, go do that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.